I'm Libby Stubbs.
And I'm Millie Connell.
And we both play for the Millwall Lionesses and are sponsored by the No One Likes Us Talking team.
Why not sponsor one of our teammates just like they do?
To find out how, just email commercial@millwall-lionesses.com. I'll say that again. Just email commercial@millwall-lionesses.com.
That is all you have to do, and it will help us to get back to where we belong.
Now enjoy our Millwall fan show from the No One Likes Us Talking team.
Hi, Bethany Warren here, and you've joined us for our Millwall fan show with the Millwall No One Likes Us Talking team. Enjoy!
Hello and welcome to the No One Likes Us Talking podcast. Joining us today is Jeff Burnage. Hi, Jeff.
Hi.
Stan Godwin. Hi, Stan.
All right.
And Henry Morgan. Hi, Henry.
Evening, Gary.
Right. So,
evening, lads.
So first of all,
right.
Evening. So tonight, the format of the show is going to be slightly different. We're going to be splitting the show into three sections. In the first part of the show, we'll be discussing the transfer window, the team's consistency, and can we make the playoffs? Then in the second part of the show, we'll be speaking to a Lions legend. And in the third part of the show, we'll be discussing the Lionesses and the games ahead for the Lions. But before that, we had a big game at the Den on Saturday morning where we played Crystal Palace. Henry, what was your thoughts on the Palace game and the result?
Well, I mean, I thought performance was very good. I thought that all of those things are sort of moving in the right direction. I think on another day, in the last 10 minutes, someone gets a foot on their ball. In fact, I think if we kept Tom Bradshaw on the pitch, he may have got his foot on the ball. It would have been 2-2 and we'd be going to extra time. But to be honest with you, when I saw the team, I thought that we were going to struggle. I had a feeling that Palace's class might tell out, especially with all the injuries and COVID we've had. And so actually, 2-1, it's not as much as we hate to lose to Crystal Palace, probably not a bad score and a really good performance. You can't fault anyone, I don't think, with that performance. And I thought, on another day, who knows?
Indeed. Jeff, what about you?
Well, I watched the game again on Tuesday morning, really early, because it's nice to go and see it again on the screen. When you've been there live, you get a bit carried away, a bit biased maybe, but actually we played pretty well. And I think the coverage on ITV might have been very different if one or two things had gone slightly differently. For example, their equaliser, a crucial moment, should have been given offside if there'd been VAR. So any of our fans that moan about VAR, I shall refer them to Crystal Palace's equaliser. But no, I thought the performance was really good. My only problem would be the system of play we adopted meant that their manager saw that we couldn't double up on the right-sided player, and it gave him a chance to get at Scott Malone, who's better attacking than he is defending. And as soon as we put Mason Bennett on and went to 4-4-2, that threat was a lot less.
Yeah.
And so I think that was the story. We let Michael Olise get at Scott Malone 3 times in the first 15 minutes of the second half.
Yep.
One goal, hit the post, then one cross for a goal. I thought that was the decisive thing, and the offside nature of their equaliser. I think otherwise we might well have won that game. We played very well.
I can't disagree. And Stan, what are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't disagree too much with what's already been said. I mean, I had read that they reckon if it was in the whole game for about 15 minutes in the whole match, that was when, it changed. But the only thing I would say, I mean, and we did play well, no argument about that. You can't argue with our performance. But, I mean, and if you take the equaliser, I'm not talking about the offside bit. I'm talking about, when he put the ball in the net. I mean, that was one bit of quality. And up until that point, we hadn't shown that sort of quality. And that's the difference. right? They had the chance and they put it away. And then even in the second one, and it was the same player involved again. And I didn't know a lot about this kid until I was watching him play, and I've sort of looked him up since then. But no, I thought we gave a good account of ourselves. But that it's them moments in it, and that's it. We just switched off, and he come in, and but that goal was real quality. The first goal he scored, and forget the offside bit. I accept it was offside, and had there been VAR, it wouldn't have counted, and all that. But we didn't have VAR, and it did count, and that was real quality.
Agreed.
And that was the difference.
It was the difference, and like Jeff said, they did spot that down that right hand side, and they moved Elise out for that first 10, 15 minutes of the second half, and literally it was he carbon copy 3 times. He should have scored 3 times.
The player that surprised me was the kid from Chelsea, because I thought he would be a lot more in the game than he actually was.
Yeah.
Now I don't know why that was. Whether it was the system they was playing to some degree, I'm talking about the way Ballis were playing, snuffed him out. I don't know.
I actually think
I've seen him play better than that.
I actually think Stan, and I can make a comment today, Saville's best game since he come back. I think Saville nullified him a lot, and to all the people outside who was putting Mitchell down, I thought he was outstanding. He was controlling the ball, passing it around, head and shoulders above their midfield until at least they moved out to the right.
I disagree, Gad. I thought genuinely, Billy Mitchell, all credit to him for hanging in there, and he came into the game after about 70 minutes, but I thought he struggled. I thought, and I think rightly so, and he would struggle against that. I thought he had one of his not as productive games. He got caught in possession quite a few times. His passes weren't going to feet. It wasn't one of his best performances.
Can I come in there, Henry?
He's a young lad, and
Henry, if you get the chance to watch it again on catch up, at the time I thought Billy struggled, but watching the whole game on television again, I was underrating him. He wasn't anything like as ineffective as I thought he was live on the day. He really was not. But can I just say about Stan's point about a great bit of quality, right? It was a good finish. I mean, he did hit the post with it and it went in. But can I say, anybody that's got a free shot from where he shot hasn't got to show much quality, because the reason he got in that position was that he was isolated against a left wing back. So it was the only time in the game that anybody really got a completely unopposed shot at goal. So I think it was largely a tactical.
I want to say something as well, Jeff. On the second goal, I was screaming at Cooper, take one for the team, take one for the team, take one for the team. And what did he do? Put the cross straight in and they scored. All he had to do was take that risk. He wasn't on a yellow card. He could have just took one for the team. Okay, it'd have been pressure for the last 20 minutes, half hour, but he'd have got away with it. There's sometimes when I think the tactical brain of Cooper there, who personally I thought wasn't having his best game. He gave the ball away a lot.
But the only thing I would say, I mean, Jeff makes the point about when it went in off the post, but that is true. But I don't know whether it was after that or before that. The same player hit the post again. The same post.
After.
So what I'm saying is, but the point I'm making is, I watched that bloke, and as I say, he was a quality player, and that's the difference. Yeah. That's the difference.
Right.
He only showed that quality when he was given a lot of time to control the ball, cut in on his favoured foot, and have a basically free shot. That's the only time he showed that quality.
That might well be the case then, Jeff. But then that's our fault for not closing him down, isn't it? Yeah. But anyway.
Right, guys. At that point, I just want to touch on something very, very quickly. Look, I know Millwall on the TV always highlights a multitude of issues, which I don't really want to bring up in this podcast. I'd like to keep us on a more even keel. But I just want to make a point. Why are we never on the telly? Jeff, you might know more about this being your history, but have we actually turned around and said to Sky, we don't want to be on the telly? Have we turned around and said to the BBC, etc.? ITV, I'd say, and I agree, we did a very good job on us on Saturday. But has something been said? Blackburn are on our game every single one of their games through January and February. Where's the balance in that? Is there any balance or not, or is it just pick them out the hat?
I don't know whether there's anything been said. I mean, I'm so long gone. I don't know the answer to that. But to be honest with you, I'm quite relieved we're not on
I am,
because
I am as well.
I agree.
we get highlighted for the wrong reasons whenever we are on telly. I mean, that game on Saturday, the story should be about our performance, and it wasn't. So, but I don't think there's anything from the club saying to Sky, we don't want to be on. I don't think so, but I could be wrong.
I mean, no, I mean my understanding, and Jeff would know more about this than me. But my understanding is that the Sky or the television, they sit down and negotiate how much they're going to get paid for the television, games, and they just pick and it's they then pick the game, and that's it. I mean, but perhaps it's just as well. Perhaps it's just as well we're not on the television so much. Personally,
there is something in the Sky contract that says that they must cover everybody in the championship during the season. I don't know the details. It might be home or away. I really don't know. But I would think that what Sky do is they do know the audience figures. And I just wonder whether the audience figures for a game involving us aren't as high as they would be for a game involving,
No.
I don't know, Nottingham Forest.
And all our Saturdays were 3 o'clock kickoffs. I'd love it.
I know I've got I can shed a little bit of light on this because obviously Stan, you was at the meeting as well. Actually, the second meeting that we went to, fans meeting that we sat with Steve Kavanagh, Tony Burnett of the Kick It Out, head of Kick It Out, and in that meeting, I believe Steve Kavanagh said that we have a contractual agreement to have Sky at the ground twice in a season.
No.
Why do we want to be on Sky when every time they come down here, we've got people telling us that our club's this, our club's that. Our fans then don't help themselves at times as well. That's been well documented. Everybody knows my position on certain things, and as well, Jeff and Stan, I know that we share a lot of common ground on, in particular, people booing opposition taking the knee and thinking that that's very unconstructive for our football club and has led to a number of issues. And I think that all of the good stuff that we do gets swept under the carpet when things like that happen. So I think it's good that they're not coming down. As for Gaz, I'll take your point about Blackburn. The only thing I would say is they are bang in form, and they're probably the one team now that's challenging what I would say the big three teams are in this division: Bournemouth, Fulham, and West Brom. So maybe that's why they're on it.
No, fair point. Right, we'll take a break there and listen to our colleagues over at the Proper Blokes Club.
Hello, I'm Scott and I founded the Proper Blokes Club. What is that I hear you say? Well, it's for men who have experienced or going through a tough time and fancy going for a walk and a talk. Or it could be you just want to get back on top of your game, maybe feeling lonely, or you could even be new to the area and just want to get out for a walk and a talk. This could be for you. So if you'd like to join us, we run sessions every Thursday, Sunday, starting at HMS Belfast, walking along the Thames up towards Surrey Quays. Thursday start time is 6 o'clock and Sunday start time is 6:30. If you guys are on Facebook, Twitter or Instagram, find the Proper Blokes Club, give it a like, give it a follow, tag and share with your friends, or if you'd like to do it the old-fashioned way, you can call Scott on 07397 501110. That's 07397 501110, and we can make arrangements for you to come along. So I look forward to seeing you joining us soon at the Proper Blokes Club.
I'm Gary Staff, and I'm back with the No One Likes Us talking team of Jeff Burnage, Stan Godwin, and Henry Morgan. So, it's that January month again. The transfer window's open, and we've been linked to a few players at the moment. But as someone said yesterday, I think Jed Wallace is going up the N1 in a car it was the worst image I've ever seen. Anyway, is he leaving us, guys? Let's have a chat about that. Jeff, I'll go with you first.
Well, I mean, I've been gone from the board for 10 years or so now, and you lose your grip a little bit. But I used to have a bit of an instinct about whether to believe what was in the newspapers or not. But my instinct in this occasion is that he will be gone by the end of the month. Yeah.
That's a shame. What about anyone else?
Well, I mean, I agree. I mean, you know, I keep reading about people thinking, well, all they got to do is throw money at Jed Wallace. That's at Millwall, like, you know. I mean, I read somewhere some bloke said, "Oh, we'll get rid of Budvarsson, and the money we pay him, you know, we can give it to Jed Wallace." Well,
Doesn't
even
work
if
like
that was possible, right, which it ain't, but even if it was, Jed Wallace is going right now. I think he'll be gone at the end of the month, and to me, where he goes, he will go to the club that offers him the best deal, and I wish the bloke good luck. But we got to stop. We got to come away from this idea that suddenly, you know, he's going to suddenly have a change of heart. That ain't going to happen. He's gone or going, in my view. And if he didn't go in January, he's certainly going at the end of the year, at the end of the season, in my view.
Can't disagree. What about you, Henry?
I think he is going to turn around and sign a 3-year deal. I think we've put in. I think we've put in bids for players. 1.5 million for that fella over in Belgium. What's his name? Zane.
Yeah, he looks quite decent as well.
Yeah, and he's an attacking midfielder, right? I think if that falls through, I think we're going to throw that money at Jed Wallace and he'll stay at the club.
Well, you heard it here first.
Going up. I think he's made up his mind that the next phase of his career will be somewhere he thinks he can get into the Premier League. He hasn't. I don't think he's ever played in the Premier League. I could be wrong, but
Played for
Wolves,
Burnley.
Was that in the Premier League though?
Yeah.
He will want to go. I think he's made his mind up. He would like to leave. The only way in which he'd stay would be at the end of the season when interest is not there. But I do think he's going in January. I hope the fans don't expect too big a fee because, you know, there's about 4 months of the season left, and the only way in which we're going to get a transfer fee is if another club feels that he can make such a difference to their chances of getting in the playoffs that they will pay some money. Otherwise, they just wait till the summer. So I think he's going. I think he's genuinely injured. I don't think there's been any jiggery-pokery going on, but I think he's going personally.
I mean, I read yesterday that he was, you know, apparently Forest was interested, and just prior to that, I'd also seen it floated that he would go there, and we would get Lyle Taylor as part of the deal. I mean,
thank you.
Well, you say that, but I mean, to be fair, he's an ex-Millwall player. I mean, he was never given a chance in the first team by Kenny Jackett, and he ended up going to Wimbledon. And he knows where the net is, to be fair to him.
No, Stan, he scored 3 goals this season. He threw a strop at Charlton and then refused to play until he got sold on.
Yeah, no, but hang on a minute. I'm not talking about this season. I suspect that if he's going to leave there this season, I suspect that Cooper don't want him. All I'm saying is, right, is that somebody said that. I mean, I'd read that we might get £2 million for Wallace, right? If we get, I read somebody on a Facebook site, and they turned around and said we would be lucky if we got 500,000 for Wallace, right? And this is before the window opened. And I happen to agree with that bloke as it goes. But I mean, if we get £2 million for him, I'd bite their arm off. And if Taylor comes as part of the deal, he does. And if he don't, he don't. But, you know, I wouldn't be unhappy with that, personally. And because we're chasing this kid at Derby, apparently. You know, but see, again, you see, he played against us when we in our first game back, when the season sort of restarted again at the Den, and he scored 3 goals. Now he's but he's a good player. But I think so. I've seen him on a couple of occasions since then. But and then
What's
we've
slightly
also
worrying, Stan, what's slightly worrying is that Lyle Taylor's not in the side. Louis Sibley is not in the side at Derby.
that's right.
You know, if we really are serious about trying to get into playoffs and ultimately trying to get in the Premier League, I'd rather see us sign the best player from Exeter, like Ollie Watkins was, for example, rather than somebody that has already not quite done it. Where Lyle Taylor's
Well,
concerned, when he left, it wasn't his choice. It's not as if he wanted to go and was in a strop. We decided he could go. If he does come as part of the deal, if he scores on his debut or the second game a good goal, everything will be all right. If he hasn't scored after 3 games, it could turn a bit horrible.
Agreed.
Yeah. I mean, we got.
No, go on, Stan.
No, I was just going to say. I mean, the only thing I would say at this particular moment in time, I mean, the transfer window is fairly quiet anyway. It's there's not a lot of people going anywhere. Even in the Premier League, it's quiet by their standards.
Saying that,
we
just gone to Newcastle for 25 million yesterday.
Because that's right. But they had a buyout clause. They met the buyout clause, right? And it's not that Burnley they're not in a position to say no. They had a buyout clause. They met it, and then it becomes up to the player.
Well, there's a thought. Is he now going to be knocking on the England door? Should have been knocking on the door a while ago.
No, he plays for New Zealand. He plays
for New Zealand.
I thought he could play for us as well, though.
No, he's already played for them.
No, he's played for New Zealand.
Oh, okay.
But going on to the transfer market, again, the transfer market in our division, I think what we've got to try. I think the situation is that no one in our division has got any money. We've had all this period of time when we were losing income from no crowds and having to borrow money under that scheme. We borrow £8 million or something to be paid back over 3 years. And I think what you'll find is that we have got a bit of money to spend. It looks like we have genuinely made bids, although you can never be certain that it's not agents talk, right? But I reckon you might see there's 2 or 3 clubs that have got to get within the financial fair play regulations, and they need to raise money in January to do that. Bristol City is one. I can't remember the other 2, but something will happen in the last couple of days before the transfer window closes. That's how I think it's going to go, and it could be us.
Yeah. I mean, it could be.
But I wish we signed Ollie Watkins. I do.
Well, that's the problem. You see, Jeff. In my opinion, you see, I keep hearing I see all these star players. You know, like as you say, Ollie Watkins, and he's like the other kid who's now at Brentford now, and then you had Albert Adoma before he went, and somehow we always miss them. We always miss these people. And I just wonder why that is, and I think, but I don't know. But I mean, I've also heard that Matt Smith could be on his way to Wigan, which if he leaves, I won't be.
I heard that he wants to keep him. I've heard strong rumours he wants to keep him.
That was on the 72, and it was they asked Gary Rowett about Steve Cowley asked Gary Rowett about, and he said, "Nah, it's nonsense."
Yeah. In my day, that is a long time ago. I would say that what you read in the newspapers nowadays, it's on social media, but I would say that 80% of it was put there for a reason by an agent or the club that was actually hoping to sell him. I think I used to take it. I mean, when I was in the know, I knew what was in the paper wasn't true. Now I don't know because I'm not part of it, but I would say that the chances of us buying a player from Belgium for £1.5 million are a bit slim. I don't really buy that one. I tell you, I don't.
I mean, I can't see Matt. I mean, I was going to say I can't. I mean, I don't know how long Matt Smith's contract lasts. Right, I've got an idea. Right now, I can't personally. I mean, he don't have pace anyway. I mean, he just don't have the pace. And personally, I think even if he's not sold, I'll be absolutely gobsmacked if Gary Rowett decides to keep him. Because I think
they keep him for the end of this season because I think he can do a job for us. He will come on and cause that disruption when we need him in the last. I don't think.
Well,
I just think problem is I think he's genuine. I've listened to a lot of his interviews. I think genuinely he's a decent guy, and I like him being at our club and one of our players. But if he went to Wigan, I think it would be a good move for him because I think he'd go there, be the super sub, but get more game time because he can come on and be that bit more rugged
well, yeah,
in the first
you see,
division.
but you see, that's the problem I have with him. You see, one, he don't have pace. He's got no pace at all, right? And secondly, when I hear this thing about, oh, well, he can come on and cause damage. Well, I've seen him in the last few games, and I watched him against Derby, and he played against Derby, and he played against, Jagielka and the other guy, Curtis, what's his name? And he didn't cause no damage in that game. I mean, I'm sorry, but when you bring on Matt Smith, it's you got to suddenly change the whole dynamic of the forward line, and the defence know exactly what's going to happen. I'd rather have that young kid on in pace.
Cast your mind back to last summer. Cast your mind back to last summer. He was out of contract, and he got another year at a lower wage, apparently. Right?
Yeah.
So the reason for Matt Smith to move, he's 32. I don't know. He's probably got kids in school down here. He's settled. For him to go to Wigan, it would only be for one reason: a contract for next season.
Yeah.
That's
And
the
also
only reason.
apparently, whether it's true or not, I don't know. That his missus comes from up north that way.
Well, that might
apparently.
be another factor. That might be another factor.
Yeah.
But at 32, his focus is on where can he get a contract for next season. I don't think he'd get one at Millwall. I don't think he would.
Agreed.
No,
Right.
I mean, you want somebody up front with pace, and he just don't have it. He just don't have it.
No. Agreed. Right. Just want to quickly discuss two other little points in this section, guys, before we move on to the legend. See, we can probably put them in together, actually. Team's consistency and can we make the playoffs? I'll start with Henry on that one.
I think actually a lot of that's down to the next two games, which I know we're going to preview in a minute, Gaz. But I do really think that a lot of this is down to the next few games. The other thing as well is at some stage we need to go on a run of form. We are within touching distance of the playoffs. I think it's a terrible division this year, the Championship. I think with the exception of teams that are making themselves known now. Obviously, you've got the big three, I would say. West Brom, Bournemouth and Fulham. I think they're up and about. Blackburn obviously now pushing up as well. They've had a good run of form, but let's see if they can continue that. I think it's I think we can make the playoffs, and I don't necessarily think that because of how good we are this season. I think it's because of how bad the Championship is, and I think that if we could just get ourselves together and maybe play a bit more dynamically, we've got a really good shot at making the playoffs. I think we've got players in and around the side that, if Conor Mahoney could only stay fit, if Mason Bennett could only stay fit, if we could free up one of our midfielders to not just play, both Saville and Billy Mitchell playing that holding role against Palace, George Saville in his last stint with us scored 12 goals or something like that because he was allowed to push forward and have shots and be a creative and a bit of a link man. And it's quite clearly to me, people are saying that he's not the same player. No, he's not the same player because he's been asked to do a different role. It's clear to me that he's, you don't lose that talent. He's still selected for Northern Ireland. When he plays for them, he's a link man. He's pinging the ball all over the place, in midfield. And so something there needs to change. I think we're probably 10 goals short of a really strong playoff push, but I think we could sneak in there.
Jeff?
I think it's unlikely for us to finish in the top six. I think it's likely we're going to finish roughly where we are now. But in previous years, someone goes on a run, don't they? Someone goes on a run from about now to the end of the season. And who knows? It could be us. It could be. I would say that if we had a new signing, it could be a catalyst for a run. But I don't agree it's a bad division. I don't think it's anything special. But again, it's a factor of the COVID. There's some big beasts in our division, some big clubs, but they haven't got any money. They've usually been able to spend money to boost their chances of getting in the playoffs, and it isn't happening. It just isn't happening. So it means there is an opportunity. My team for the playoffs that you haven't mentioned is Queen's Park Rangers. I think they're a bit decent, and they seem to be willing to spend a little bit of money. So I'm looking at them. I'm hoping we beat them at home because we had a very good game at the start of the season. Do you remember? It was a wonderful game and a great atmosphere at the start of the season at QPR. I'm hoping we'll do well against them in the return. So, yeah, we are a bit inconsistent. I think we're likely to not quite get the playoffs, but who knows?
Never know. And Stan, your thoughts on that before we move on?
Well, I mean, I agree with Jeff about normally this sort of the time of the year, a team goes on a run. Now, the way I look at it at the moment is that, when we played, for example, against Birmingham the other week, right? I mean, and there was another game I think prior to that. We got out on the pitch. We then started to take control of the game and never let the opposition get into it. That's if we want to make the playoffs. That's how you got to play. We've got to take control of the game, and we've got to be at it and stop letting these teams get back into the game, right? And because and our problem's been in we've got this and everyone goes up, everyone gets excited, and then we go to Peterborough, and what happens is we get turned over, right? Now we've got and I agree with what Henry said about Saville. Why do we keep playing these two holding players in midfield? We must control the game, and we must, from the moment we kick off, we've got to have to be in the ascendancy, and don't let the other team get back into the game. And when we do, we end up paying a price for it. But if we play the right way and not let other teams get back in, it's conceivable that we can make the playoffs. And if we got some good signings, that would be even more helpful, wouldn't it?
Exactly. I personally think if we can put a run together, like we've all said, we can do it. But let's take a break there and listen to the great Harvey Brown and Debbie and Kelly Webster.
First of all, let's hear from Harvey Brown.
Have you heard of the Lions Food Hub? It is now located in the Millwall Community Trust car park. That's beside Millwall's Den in Ballina Road. That Millwall lioness, Kelly Webster, is involved. Don't forget to help the Lions Food Hub if you can. Thank you.
As Harvey said, they need support, and you can help if you can by making a one-off or a regular monetary donation online at Banquet, that is BANKUET. Or on a Saturday, you should make donations pre-match at the hub, about 50 metres down from the Lions store. Alternatively, you can also contact the team via their Twitter and Facebook sites.
Thanks, Debbie. I'm Gary Staff, and I am back with the No One Likes Us talking team of Jeff Burnage, Stan Godwin, and Henry Morgan. Now we're going to move on to the part of the show where we talk to a Lions legend. The Millwall midfield legend was born in Dartford 1974 and began his Lions career in 1991, making 138 appearances and scoring 5 goals. He then moved on to South London rivals Crystal Palace, where he made a further 108 appearances, scoring 2 goals for the Palace. He then moved on to Wimbledon for a further 101 appearances and a further 6 goals. And with a short spell at Norwich, he then returned to the Lions in 2002-2004. He unfortunately ended his career through injury in 2004 at the age of 30. Welcome to the show, Andy Roberts.
Good evening. How are you all?
All good.
All right,
Evening, Andy.
Hello, Mr. Burnage. How are we?
I'm very well, Mr. Roberts.
Good.
That's what I like to hear. So you two are going to be talking and taking this away. That's what I wanted to hear. Andy, before you go off and talk to those lot, I'm going to ask you a question because as at the start of the show, we were talking about the game, and a couple of us watched it on the telly, and a couple of us were at the ground. What was your thoughts? I know you watched it in a pub from our chat earlier this week. What were your thoughts on this? We thought we played really well.
Yeah, I thought you did really well, and like you said, I was in the pub watching it, so I didn't hear the atmosphere, but from the TV pictures, it looked like the good old days when I was playing local derby, and the great atmosphere for the club. and like you was saying earlier, just a 10-15 minute lapse of concentration, and the Premier team slightly got on top.
Yeah, they did. So, guys, what would you like to speak to Andy about? I'll let you fire away. I'll start with you, Henry.
Evening, Andy. My parents have still got a picture of you and me, me as a young, I don't know, 10 or 11-year-old. I was a mascot for a Luton town at home back in 1995, and you were the captain that day. No, that was, no, that's always an interesting thing. It's still sitting there. Every time I go round, my mum gets it out. I'm like, for God's sake. But yeah,
that was at Luton as well, yeah?
It was at the Den. It was at the Den, mate. It was at the Den.
Yeah. Hope you won.
I think it was 0-0, mate, actually. But
that was an exciting game then.
That's it, yeah. Freezing in the stands afterwards because I forgot to bring a tracksuit with me. But yeah, anyway. I guess my question was, when you first started your professional career, it must be, it's everyone's dream to play in an FA Cup final. Realistically, either in either of your stints with Millwall, did you ever see that happening with this football club?
Not really. Yeah, it's always a dream of every player, especially people of my age. Maybe not so much as the youngsters nowadays, because I think the FA Cup's devalued slightly. But back in the 90s, yeah, it's everyone's dream. I grew up watching it in the 80s every May on a Saturday. And back in the early 80s, it was probably only the few games that were on then. So yeah, it's always a dream to get there. But it's so hard because you come in at the third round when all the big teams come into it as well. And we had some great games with Mill, as you know, back in the 90s.
Yeah. Big ones.
Yeah, and probably beat two of the biggest teams in Arsenal and Chelsea, and then you think we've got a great chance against QPR, and then you go and lose against them. But it is so hard to get to that final. When I finally did get to the final, obviously I was injured. We had one of the easiest runs you could probably get.
Yeah.
In 2004.
Yeah. Telford, all kinds of Burnley at home, wasn't it? Yeah. Tranmere.
Burnley, I think Burnley was in our league then. I think Sunderland
they were.
Yeah,
you're right.
If I remember. So yeah, we had a great.
And if I remember right, hadn't we beaten Sunderland twice that season already?
Yes,
I think we had. Yeah,
yeah, we had, definitely. I can remember, Andy. This is Jeff here. I can remember. I was convinced that we would not get Sunderland in the semi-final draw.
Yeah,
was it Arsenal? Was it Arsenal and Man United, the other two teams?
That was on the Sunday, wasn't it? We were on the Saturday morning, weren't we?
Yeah, I was convinced, and I was actually on the London Eye when someone texted me. I couldn't believe it. I thought they're going to do the old hot ball, cold ball bit, But Andy, my question to you is: what's your recollection of how you came to join the club? I'd like to know how you recall that.
How I remember it. It was. I think I was around 15, and I was actually from about 13 to maybe 15. I was at Tottenham and got released. And my Sunday League team manager back then, he had affiliations with a few clubs, and Orient being one. And he took me and a couple of fellow players for the Sunday team to Orient. So we trained with Orient for a few months. And then it was coming to the time where they sign you on when you leave school, whether they're going to sign you on or not. And they got rid of quite a few of us, and that was me being one of them. So I kind of came to Millwall pretty late because he then got us into Millwall, a few of us, and I think that some of them were already training with Millwall and Orient as well. But I came in quite late, and I think I was probably one of the last ones that was going to be given a contract to sign for an apprenticeship. So I wasn't at the club like some of them are now for like 3, 4, 5 years before signing.
So who made the decision to sign?
I don't know if you remember. I think it was down to Bob in the end, yeah.
It was. I'll tell you, I'll refresh your memory. You were playing for Kent Schools.
Yeah.
Is that right?
That's right, yeah.
they had a tournament about Easter time where London, Kent, Surrey, and
Yeah,
the AFA or Essex, you played in the tournament. Bob was there, saw you, and I think within a day or two, he contacted your family and offered you an apprenticeship. I
yeah,
think
it all
that's how it
happened
happened.
really. Yeah, it all happened really quickly and kind of late on. And then kind of started like left school straight away and started full time back then when Bruce had just not long been at the. Or I think he joined that club the club that year as well. So Bruce Triott was the manager and Ian Evans was the reserve team manager, and then Tom Wally was the youth team manager. And that year we went on to win the FA Youth Cup.
An infamous season that
in
was.
my first year.
Stan, have you got
Yeah,
anything to ask Andy?
Yeah, I have. I was going to ask you, Andy. You've worked under a few managers in your time at the Den, including Dennis Wise. Who, in your opinion, was the most influential?
oh, Mick by a long shot. He gave me my first chance. Threw me in straight away. I'd played with him in the reserves, and he threw me in into the first team squad. I think on his second game, I travelled away and was in and around the first team. And then he gave me my debut away to Cambridge, come on as sub, and then I think I played the next 7 or 8 games towards the end of the season. So yeah, hit him by far because he gave me that chance, and he even stuck by me when I had like a couple of seasons into playing. I wasn't playing the best, and the crowd were getting on my back and that, but he stuck by me, which makes you a harder and stronger player if you can deal with your own crowd getting on your back, which they were, because that's how it is sometimes. They always try and pick on someone, and to me, it didn't bother me. It wasn't nice, but I knew I could turn it round. But I was lucky enough that Mick gave me that chance to keep me in there, because it would have been easy for him to drag me out and either rest me or just drop me, because I was still only 19, 20 at the time.
And what was your
yes,
favourite Millwall memory?
I think it has to go back to those the FA Cup run, really, because it is such a big thing playing in the FA Cup and playing the games that we did against Arsenal and Chelsea. There is nothing better for any footballer, especially when I was at Millwall, to play local derbies and the ground being full. There's nothing that comes close to it. And
I'm not like
so
and as well.
obviously as well that we held our own in those games as well. So it wasn't as if they came there and battered us 4-5-0. We held our own.
Like we owed Arsenal, didn't we?
Yeah, we played Arsenal, I think, 5 times in about
5
3
times.
years.
That's it. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Coca-Cola Cup, wasn't it? And then at the old Den, and then
They
twice at the new Den.
they beat us in the last minute with a header that I thought was a foul on Casey, and they beat us on
It
penalties,
was.
didn't they?
That's right. Yeah, the old place. I was a ball boy for the game.
Yeah, so I remember scoring at Arsenal in the first League Cup game when it was the old clock end, and they had the murals up on the.
That's right. God.
On the fencing, because they was building a stand. But yeah, we held our own against them. That was a great team, Arsenal, back then.
Was you in the team when Les Briley scored the screamer and he got disallowed?
No, I was in the youth team then, I think.
There was another game that we let us go.
I
that
think
was all of a sudden on the telly, wasn't it?
Wasn't it? I think I was in the youth team then.
That was when we were in the old First Division when that happened.
Yeah.
So that can't have been any later than 1990.
That was at the old Den as well, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was.
As a question, Andy, what was the old memories of the old Den and the new Den? Because you're one of those rare players that did both.
Yeah, excellent. I think I kind of agree with the fans that most of them prefer the old ground to the new one, but things have to move on, and you did need to move grounds. But yeah, there was nothing like the old Den. It was a scary place to play for fans, but but then again, I've been at the New Den and the Mother's Day massacre, as they called it.
Yeah.
That I've never been in a tunnel before and knew that we was going to win the game by just looking at the players. And that day,
Really?
always said it, that they just had fear on their faces, the West Ham players,
Wow.
and they had some big players that day that have gone on to play in the Premier League with some big clubs, and they just looked panic-stricken that day. And yeah, what was it, 4-1, and we missed two
Yes.
penalties as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, I can honestly say that I knew we was going to win that day before we went out, because just the way they looked in the tunnel, because it was a full ground, the fans are up for it, and there's nothing better or playing in at that ground, or both of the grounds, when the fans are up for it and it's a local derby. There's just nothing better.
That is a game that sticks in my memory. The players that must have looked scared in the tunnel. Thomas Repka played centre back and Christian Daly played centre back, and they were both awful. They were both awful.
Didn't Christian Daly score? Yeah, didn't he
Daly
score 3 own goals against us once in that season?
Yeah.
I think he scored 2 or 3 own goals against us that season.
Well, he scored an own goal in that game, and then he scored an own goal when he played with Charlton. And both occasions, and he couldn't. And to be, and I did feel sorry for him really, because he tried to save the ball, and if he couldn't do it, it was going to go in. And I think in the Millwall game, I think he thought Harris was behind him.
Did you say you felt sorry for him?
Yeah, because the reason I say that is because he's trying to defend, and I think when he went for the one when he played for West Ham, I think he thought that there was Neil Harris was behind him, and as it happened, he wasn't. So he's got to play
I think
the ball.
it was a cross, wasn't it? And he was near post.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I mean.
I want to ask Andy about the Cup semi-final at Old Trafford. What's your memories of that, Andy?
Yeah, I mean, I think again, probably agreeing with a lot of the fans, that was the cup final, really. I know I didn't play in the final because I was injured, but playing in a semi-final in a cup is it's like dreams come true. And then when you're playing a team that you've already beaten twice, there's no better chance of getting to the final, is there? And we probably didn't play that well that day, really, if I'm honest. But it's all about the result, and just seeing the half the ground full with Millwall fans, it's just you can't explain it really. Just such a good feeling, and obviously when you win the game, it's even better.
Did you manage to catch Tim when he made his run after scoring?
Well, I was sub. He bombed me out. I started sub, and I only come on. I came on for Kevin Muscat just before he got injured in the first half. So I started sub. I played against Tranmere. I didn't play against Tranmere at home, and then played against Tranmere away that we won. And then he dropped me for the semi-final, and then played the whole second half and part of the first half.
Who was the opposing manager, Andy? Do you remember that?
I do.
Big Mick.
Big Mick.
It was
Big Mick and Taff. Yeah.
That must have hurt them.
Oh yeah, I mean they would have thought exactly the same as us. You're not going to get a better chance to get to a cup final, are you?
Yeah.
And yeah, they must have been devastated because the draw was perfect for both teams, and just the dream of getting to the cup final, as we said earlier, there's nothing better. Unfortunately, I got injured and other people were suspended and stuff.
Andy, was that the injury that finished your career, unfortunately?
Yeah, I never played again after that. Well, I played again after the semi-final. I played, I think, 3 games more after the semi-final. I got injured against West Brom at home. And, I knew it had gone in the game. And I think we'd used all our subs up. So I had to play, I remember having to play about 10-15 minutes of hobbling around at right back because we didn't want to go down to 10 men. But I knew it was badly damaged, and then when I had the scans, like the following week. It was just I was only given a 50-50 chance of coming back, and yeah, it just didn't work out, unfortunately.
Did you get to go out to Europe?
No.
Oh man.
No, didn't go out there. So yeah, I bet that was amazing. I know a lot of supporters that was obviously out there, and yeah, that would have been another good experience.
Anyone got anything for Andy before we close up? I've got one more question to ask him, but I'll save that for the end.
No worries.
No worries. Well, I'll ask my question. I've got two questions. What are you doing now, Andy? What are you up to these days?
What am I doing now? No, well, family. I joined my family's travel agents that my brother set up 21 years ago. But unfortunately, with the pandemic, we had 4 shops and a call centre, and with the pandemic, we had to go into liquidation.
Oh no!
So yeah, everyone lost their jobs and everything. But we bought the name back from the liquidators, and we started up again in December. So last month. Not sure that it's the best business to still be in at the moment, but it's the only thing my brothers had known since they left school, so we thought we'd go back into that. So we've got a shop in Chislehurst and
give it a plug,
selling
Andy.
holidays.
Give it a plug. I'm sure we can.
Yeah, give it Go Travel in Chislehurst. So
excellent.
It's been there for 21 years, and we've just started again.
Wonderful, brilliant to hear. Well, Andy, thanks so much. So much more we could have discussed. We'll get you on the show again pretty soon. But
yeah, no worries.
Obviously, we've got Forest coming up. I don't know if you've got many memories of the Forest games in the past, but what are your thoughts?
Beating them up there. I think we beat them up there in the cup once, and I remember Rhino scoring up at. I know the game's at home, but I remember Rhino scoring. He doesn't score many goals, but I remember him scoring against Notts Forest.
He did score at Upton Park. I remember that one.
I was going to mention that one as well, and that was a great game as well, 2-2, wasn't it?
Was that we were 1-0 up after 30 seconds with Jamie Morley bursting through the middle?
Jamie Morley, which I still see Jamie.
Oh, cool.
My son's in his son's class. I hadn't seen him for 20 odd years, and then turn up to a school game, and both our kids are in the same class.
Wow.
And now they play for the same team on a Sunday or Saturday as well.
Small world. So go on then. What's the score going to be?
2-1 Millwall.
I'll take that. Andy, take care. Thank you for coming on the show. Everyone say goodbye.
No worries. Lovely to see you all.
Yeah. Cheers, Andy.
Take care,
Andy.
Jeff.
Take care.
Thanks a lot, Andy. Thanks a lot. Great interview. Thank you very much.
Cheers,
Take care all. See ya. Bye-bye.
We know that some men can struggle to talk about how they're feeling after the death of a baby. We hope that by building trust and a common bond, by playing together as a team, many more will be able to break their silence about baby loss and help others to do the same. Sand United FC has already saved the lives of men left feeling like they had no one to turn to in their grief. Are you a father who has lost a child? Talk to Sand United. They will help. Contact them on sufclondon@gmail.com. That's sufclondon@gmail.com. They will help.
I'm Gary Staff, and I'm back with the No One Likes a Talking team of Jeff Burnage, Stan Godwin, and Henry Morgan. Before we go and talk about the visit of Nottingham Forest, and we look forward to that, our roving reporter Jeff was with the Lionesses this weekend, and he's got a few words to say about their 3-0 victory over Dulwich Hamlet.
Well, it was a great occasion. There was a very big crowd, 473 people paid. There was a lot of complimentaries, kids, staff, and so on. So a big crowd, and it was lovely for the girls because they, when they made a tackle or had a shot, there was always a bit of crowd reaction, which is great for them. They won the game 3-0. It's a great local derby. I really enjoyed it. We're now 4th in the table, and I think it's true to say that there's 4 points separating the top 5 teams. So there's all to play for. Although the top team are probably Ashford. That's the Middlesex Ashford, because they've got games in hand, and we play them next at home. so that'll be interesting. The match um, the match was great. Molly Hawkins scored a worldie to put us 1-0 up in the first half. And then our top scorer, Chloe Burr, who we've mentioned quite a lot in these reports, she scored another two cracking goals to put us 3-0 up. And the girls were loving it. One of our best players was Liz O'Callaghan. She was signed fairly recently as a winger. The manager, Jack Wheeler, played her at right back. It looked like she played there all her life. It was brilliant. We were a bit short, injuries, a touch of COVID. So Jack Wheeler, the manager, was obliged to put some very young players on the bench. And with 3-0 up, quarter of an hour to go, he was able to put on Ellie Hinkley, Aoife Saunders, and Cadence Kabadaki. They all came on. They all did well. They're all youngsters. So there's a real buzz about the Lionesses at the moment, and it would be great to see the attendances at our games increase again to the levels we enjoyed 4 years ago before we lost our championship status for off-field reasons. But there is a buzz, and I can recommend anyone to get down and watch these girls. It's great stuff.
Brilliant. Thanks, Jeff. So, first up for the Lions this weekend, we've got Forest. But our Stato man, Henry, has some statistics for us before we start discussing the game.
Cheers, Gaz. Forest coming into the game, 1-9, lost 9, drawn 7. We're on a massive run of form in the run-up to Christmas where they went undefeated in 3 games, beating people like Swansea away 4-1, beat Peterborough 2-0, beat Hull 2-1. But since Christmas, they've been a bit more hit and miss. I mean, obviously, the most notable result for them is probably going to be their victory against Arsenal last weekend. How much is that going to take out of them? I don't know. The other thing I'd throw in to this particular sort of fixture that we've got on Saturday is the fact that they've got Derby at home the following week. So will they have one eye on that? Potentially, potentially not. Steve Cooper's obviously trying to build something there since he's gone in. He hasn't got to contend with Brentford this season, so he'll be happy about that, having lost twice to them when he was at Swansea. And I think that they've already made 3 signings in this transfer window, so it shows you what their intent is. They are 9th in the table, so they're above us. But most of the betting's very close, and actually the smart money is on 3 goals. So that tells you what you need to know there, and more often than not, they're drawing. The other thing I'd say is that it looks like they quite often play the same formation as us. So will we cancel each other out? Those are all the sorts of things. We got Lewis Grabban coming back. He's got 11 goals this season in 25 games. So he's averaging a goal just about every other game. So he's on a good run of form at the moment as well. So that's where Forest are.
Well, let's just hope he doesn't get a bad bout of Millwall flu like he always gets when he comes near our ground. So, Jeff, what are your thoughts on Forest? I personally feel we're going to turn them over. A lot of their fans have, looking on Twitter today, on the last few days, have been a bit like, oh, you're little old Millwall. Let's not forget, 10 games ago, they were sitting bottom of the league, weren't they not? So, I'd like to turn them over and just start our long run into the playoffs.
I think our chances of winning will be improved by the return, hopefully, of Murray Wallace. I think we missed him in the Palace game, and I think that may have even influenced the final result. So I think that will be good. I'm pretty sure he'll start. I've got a sneaky feeling we can win this game. I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, they are a big club. Obviously, they are. They've won the European Cup twice. I think that means that we think we've got to be out of a game, whereas their mental approach will be, oh, we're only playing Millwall. So I know you're going to ask for predictions, but you can see what I think, can't you? I think we're going to do well.
Yeah, I'll ask predictions after we've done the commentary on the Blackpool game. I'll do them both together. Henry, I know you've just had a chat about it, but you have any more thoughts on it?
They're bringing a lot of fans down. I know it doesn't always mean anything, but they sold their allocation, so they're going to have 2,000 people making a lot of noise at the top of their stand. And how does that Arsenal game affect them? really is it. Come back down to earth from playing Arsenal to getting a big kick fest at the Den. I'm not sure whether they're going to be up for it or not. I personally think that they are potentially there for the taking. They've got indifferent form in the league. The only other statistic that sticks out for me, and I know that these don't mean much, but they've only lost one game away from home since the end of August.
Blimey.
So they quite often set up in a 5-3-2 and invite teams to bring that pressure and try and hit them on the break because they got quicker players. And I don't think we're particularly great at breaking teams down, to be perfectly honest, and going on the front foot and trying to attack. So I hope I'm wrong, but yeah, we shall see.
Stanley?
Well, it's going to be an interesting game against Forest. I mean, this is what their 14th manager they've had in 10 years. But we're at home, and they're beatable at home. I mean, unfortunately, I'm not going to be there because I'm still lumbered with this COVID love. But anyway, but no, if we again, you're playing against one of the good teams, and it's no good there. It's no good turning up out there Saturday, and we then let them. We've got to keep them on the back foot. And I know 100%. It's 90 minutes and it's hard work, but that's what we got to do, because if you give good teams, right, you let them get back into the team, and then he's made the point, if they're going to play 5 across the back, we're not going to possibly break them down and all the rest of it. If you don't have them on the back foot, eventually their quality might shine through.
Stan,
and,
I completely agree.
And I agree with Jeff with Murray Wallace. I happen to think that was a good point. I think Murray Wallace will make a difference. No question of that in my view.
If
But,
we
has his wife had the baby now?
Yes, she has.
Apparently, yeah. She had it. Yeah, was it? I think she had it Tuesday or Wednesday. Apparently.
What does everybody think about? What does everybody think about our back three at the moment? Since Ballard got injured, Pearce has had to play, and
I'd prefer us to go back to a 4, if I'm being honest.
Well, we did that, didn't we, when we needed to get back in the game on Saturday, and we did get forward a lot more. But I'd like to make a point. Ballard was a very good player, and he may be back fairly soon. But they kept saying on ITV that we had no pace at the back. But have a guess who just about the fastest player who's a professional at Millwall is at the moment.
Murray Wallace.
And no, the surprising answer is the lad at Leyton Orient. The lad that's on loan at Leyton Orient. Is it Alex Mitchell?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, he's a big strapping lad, and people don't think he's quick. I'm telling you, he is quick. That boy is quick. So at some stage, he's going to be knocking on the door, I hope. It looks like we'll leave him at Orient for the rest of the season. Personally, I wouldn't mind seeing him come back and go straight in, but that's a call for the manager. But don't underestimate that lad. He's got a future.
And we sent another kid down there this week as well.
Yeah, that Dan Moss, the one that was on loan at Yeovil. He's a right back. Obviously, when I saw that we'd recalled him, it was pretty obvious that he was going to someone in League Two, because Yeovil National League. He's all right, but I don't think he's one that would break in front of Danny McNamara. Do you?
No,
I think he's wonderful. But Alex Mitchell has got a chance, because in a back three, we're a touch one pace. I think ITV overstated it, but Alex Mitchell's big lad, but he has got a bit of pace, and I'm hoping he'll eventually get in Millwall's first team. So we'll see.
It's been interesting, because I've been reading this week on different Facebook sites, and different people have all been saying, well, we got these young players, we want to give them a go and all the rest of it, right? Now, Tyler Bury come on the only problem I have, not the fact that he comes on, right, but to me, Gary Rowett brings him on too late. He should be coming on 20 minutes from the end, not 10 minutes from the end. But we have to be bold. We have to be bold. That's the issue for me. And if we've got some of these young players, I mean, this young kid, Lovelace. I mean, I don't know I've not seen him play, and I'm not saying that he would pull up any trees against Forest, but I mean, by
He's
all
too young,
accounts, he's
Stan.
like a.
He's too young.
Yeah, he may well be.
He
I'm
needs
not
to
saying, but
develop.
what I'm saying, yeah, but what I'm saying is, if he's on the bench on Saturday, which I think he probably would be, I can't see him starting unless we got a flu epidemic or something.
No.
But no, I'm just saying I couldn't see him starting. But all I'm saying is, but they're powerful players, and you, if you bring them on, don't bring them on with only 3 minutes to go, unless you want to run the clock down. And so I can get all that, but let's
Well, on
but
that
let's
point,
get this.
no, I was going to say
No,
on that
let's
point, let's move on
get
to
the grip of the game.
yeah, exactly. On that point, let's let Henry have some stats on the Blackpool game, and we can move on to Blackpool.
I mean, Blackpool are an interesting side. I'm not quite sure how they are where they are in the table, which is one position below us, to be perfectly honest with you. And obviously, I'll caveat everything I'm going to say here by basically they're playing Blackpool this weekend, so they're playing Blackpool tomorrow. No, sorry, Barnsley. Blackpool
Playing themselves.
that good, they're playing Barnsley away, which I mean, but it's a tough place to go to, Oakwell. So, we haven't won there, and we've played them quite a few times since 2007. So are we due a win up there? They also lost to Hartlepool in the FA Cup. They'll go into the game. Currently, they've won 9, lost 11, and drawn 6. So I mean, they don't draw many games up there. Their home form is 50-50. They've won 6, lost 6. So it's not a place that's particularly a fortress. We don't often travel well there, but I think quite a few of us going up there. I'm going to go up there for my first proper away day, really, since Forest away before COVID. So I'm looking forward to going up there. And if we can get a result there and get a result against Forest, we are right back in the playoff picture because we'll leapfrog both of them. And
go on, Stan.
Was that what I was going to say? And was that Blackpool you were talking about?
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'll come in a minute, but yeah. Okay.
I look, how we've done against them over the years. Of course, it's totally irrelevant. But it isn't a place that we've got much of a record at, is it?
No,
it really
not,
isn't.
No.
So I've contradicted myself there. But I think everything depends on the Forest game. If we win the Forest game, if we do, we'll go to Blackpool with a chance of getting close to the top 6. With a chance. Like we did when we went to Peterborough.
Yes,
like we
that's
did
what
when
I'm
we
worried
went to
about.
Hull. Right? And when we get close, we tend to blow it. So let's take one game at a time. Blackpool away, I think it all depends on the result against Forest. If we put ourselves in with a chance of the top 6, then we'll all get excited, and it could be very interesting at Blackpool. That is winnable because, as you said, Henry's stats were interesting. They've won 6 and lost 6. Is that right, Henry?
That's correct. Yeah, at home.
That means it's winnable to me. And we played well against Palace, so maybe Bradshaw and Afobe will continue their good run. Maybe Ojo will continue his improvement. Maybe Tyler will come on and do something a bit unusual. If we win against Forest, I think we would go to Blackpool and win.
Fair enough. So, Jeff, what are your predictions for the Nottingham Forest and Blackpool games?
1-0, 1-0.
Henry?
I'm going to go 2-1 against Forest, and I'm going to go 2-0 to Millwall against Blackpool.
And Stan?
I think we'll beat Forest if we play the right way. Blackpool, I think we get a draw.
Okay, I'm going to go. I think we're going to win them both, and I think we're going to have 2 clean sheets. So I'm going to go 2-0 and 2-0. I'll take that both of the games. Right. On that note, I'll start to wrap things up. Don't forget, you'll be able to listen to the No One Likes Us talking team, bring reports from our games both home and away, and updates on Millwall community matters on Maritime Radio, broadcasting on 96.5 FM. Also, why not listen to the Millwall No One Likes Us podcast on the monthly podcast? featuring former player Phil Coleman, and also the No One Likes Us Talking specials um, in the past that we put out with John Lyons, and on the Maritime Radio, I know our dear Jeff puts out some on the Lionesses as well. Links are on our Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter social media sites, and all popular podcast sites. So, guys, just before we go, I wanted to say, Eamon, get well soon, my friend. We all miss you on the show. The show's not the same without you. This is why I'm doing the show this week and producing the bits in between. And the show for the next couple of weeks, unfortunately, will be bi-weekly while Eamon gets better. Get well soon, my friend, and I'm sure the rest of the team pass on their love as well.
Yeah, here.
Yeah, here.
Indeed.
So that's it from me. Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it tonight. Thank you very much. It's been really good. Let's just hope our predictions are right.
Indeed. Good night, Stan.
Yeah, good night, and I've enjoyed it tonight.
And good night, Henry.
Good night, lads. Let's hope for 3 points the next couple of weeks.
Indeed. Let's not forget, keep it safe on the streets out there during these strange times. And it's good night from me.